Oh man, I slept so long last night. I took some of my melatonin powder. I don't know how much, probably like 6 milligrams of it. Oh, my hair's greasy. Oh, I just woke up. Oh, got a cup of instant coffee. Oh, I miss when I went to France and I got a coffee and it was just a cup of espresso. Now, those French people, they give up on a lot. But they don't give up on coffee. I feel like life would be better if I could just go and get one of those thick, thick cups of coffee for €1. Of course, I don't have any euros because I'm in America. Plus, I mean, the dollar's pretty weak. You know, a euro is probably like $6 at this point with how weak the dollar is. Should have held on to some of those euros so I could exchange them. Oh, sound a little stuffy. Had all kinds of dreams. Probably all this fucking bullshit I got on my mom's giving me wacky dreams. I had a dream like Freddy Krueger was in there, but I wasn't afraid for some reason. You know, probably because I'm God. You know, like why the fuck is Freddy Krueger gonna scare me? Had a dream that I got a diamond ring, like the one I got for the French girl. It's pretty cheap actually. One moment, I'm gonna drink a little more of this. Made me think about the French girl a little and how silly that whole thing was. But how do I put this about how I live life? Life tries to make me zig, and instead I zag. It hasn't always been that way, but it all started with the God stuff. Up until the God stuff, I thought that I lived in this scientific universe based on scientific rules. That doesn't necessarily mean I made sensible decisions. I mean, I drank liters of Everclear after all. And I took a heap of Adderall to go to work. Probably fried my brain. I mean, this is all probably just delusions. But one day I start thinking I'm God, just like the veil is lifted over my perceptions. I'm like, oh, I'm God Almighty. And then I'm like, well, there's nothing to do pertaining to that, so I may as well just go to bed. It's a funny decision, but it's also clearly the correct one. They're like, well, I mean, okay, I'm God. That's interesting, but not really much to do about that. I don't see it, there's no fucking holy lights, Look at the scar on my hand, it didn't magically heal up. Like I don't immediately seem to have God powers, so, I mean, fuck, man. Gotta go to work tomorrow. Better go to bed. Then a couple weeks later, I start drawing fucking, like, fairly simple symbols on stuff. These aren't like super arcane symbols or just like very simple symbols. Drawing them on things. I have a whole table with a little switchboard of drawings. Start moving objects around on it. It's like, this is interesting. I'm sure I'll understand what this is all about. I sure feel like I know what I'm doing. Just fucking roll with it. And then reality starts changing. And, it's like, I figure most people in this situation where they had a really solid understanding of the world scientifically, and then they just see it start changing when they're doing wacky bullshit with symbols and objects. They might freak out a little bit. Things weren't going that great for me. I'm like, let's just see where it goes. I'm gonna drink a little more of that coffee. Oh boy, I really do need to wash this hair. Look what happened to it when I leaned over just to get that coffee. Like, 45 years old. My hair should not have this much body. This implies that it's about 70% grease by mass. Where was I? Where was I in my story? I just gotta review this. Because the thing is, taking things on faith is what I'm doing. But then once reality starts changing, seemingly in response to my objects and my symbols, at that point it's not really faith, because it's more like, what the fuck is going on? Am I somehow changing reality with this shit? And so at first I think like, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to change reality with my fucking objects and symbols, master magic powers of... No, nothing it could never be so straightforward. But it's evidence. Just evidence that reality isn't on the level. That's when I started zigging instead of zagging. You know, that French girl thing, it's not actually all that dissimilar to that time when I was found wandering naked in a hotel. It's like, I'm fed up with the universe, and I'm just gonna do what it clearly doesn't want me to do. Is what that was all about. Only in a way that's not gonna get me arrested, like walking around naked in a hotel. And it has to do with my perception of how reality operates. It's a relationally symmetric substrate. Now you can see it everywhere. Well, maybe you can't see it everywhere. It's how conflict works. Conflict is symmetrical, and people refuse to see this, and that's why they're trapped. Right? Two things pushing against each other and going nowhere. The universe will always try to push you, so you push back. And you don't really go anywhere. You zig when it wants you to zig, and you zag when it wants you to zag. Me, the universe wants me to zig, I fucking zag. And do you know why? Because I don't fucking take it seriously. I know how unserious it is. I've seen it fucking be altered with fucking symbols and objects. It is not as real as it pretends to be. I still remember the time that you know, I had these two weights that were in my God project. 8-pound weights, looks like an infinity, by the way, if you turn it on the side. And one of them, I put outside, switched some stuff around, and it just fucking disappeared. And instead, in its place was a box that I'd thrown away 3 days prior. So that weight was apparently gone. I'm like, where did it go? Did it somehow, like... My mind said, well, you've altered the scalar field. It's actually still there. It's just at a level you can't perceive. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then, maybe 2 weeks later, you know, I get ready to go on one of my little Lord Johns. You know, I go around town. I place some night lights in a couple different places. Star night lights with magic symbols on them. I come back. And anytime my keys disappear during a trip... When I get back, my door is open just a crack, and this time was just like that. And I get back, and both weights are right back into the God project where they've always been sitting. It just somehow apparated back into place. By the way, that's something that happened. My keys would disappear along the trip. Like, I have shit in my pockets, but it's like there can only be a finite amount of shit in my pockets, and so some of it would disappear, and then reappear. And if the keys ever disappear, then reappear, then I'd get back, and the door would be open. It's a whole thing with... Don't take reality seriously. It's not a serious thing. Like, in a serious reality, that shit's not gonna happen. So ever since then, yeah, don't really take reality seriously. And that has only become more the case. But how I respond to it has become different. Instead of just openly zagging, I just do nothing. Just let it wear itself out, like a screaming toddler. Nothing as overtly magical has really happened to me since that first bit of working on the equation. I remember there'd be a thing where I could take an object and move it around like this, and it would make all this clunking sound upstairs. And I was like, what the fuck is up there? And then I noticed, it's only every time I move an object like this, clunk, 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 upstairs. What the fuck is that? Could it have been a coincidence? Maybe. What about the weight that disappeared and reappeared? Now that one, that's hard to explain. So I'm like, maybe somebody's watching me. They took the weight, waited for me to leave, picked the lock on my apartment, and then put it back on the table. But that... I mean... From an Occam's razor point of view, like, that's even more paranoid than just thinking that the universe is wonky. Because, I mean, I distinctly remember the weight disappearing and not being there anymore, and then coming back a week later. Yeah, so, like, where does your faith come from, right? Well, it's just these little reality violations, really. Or, you know, the McDonald's that was down the street from me. it used to have a specific kind of futuristic style. I say futuristic because I fucked around with my equation and then it suddenly went to a retro style like it had in the 80s. And it kind of had that ever since. And now that it's 2026, it's gotten back to where it was back in like 2016. So it's just gotten back to its level of modernity in the current day, but for whatever reason working on the equation made it all retro looking. In retrospect, I guess I just moved to a different universe, is what it was. I don't know. Just had a good long sleep. You know, I'm awfully cheerful before I've even had all of my coffee. I haven't even finished this cup of coffee yet. You know, I remember being in the homeless shelter the first time. Man, it's sad when you talk about the first time you were in a homeless shelter, am I right? And I was actually thinking about the French girl, and I'm like, you know, maybe I should try to get with her. And I'm like trying to imagine what that'd be like, and I'm like, that actually seems really boring. Like, I don't really feel like that'd do anything for me. I mean, there's not much to it. You know, it's like, I don't really have desires, is the thing. But I'm like, well, you know what? I don't have any better leads to chase at this moment, so, you know, just go through the paces. And I go through the paces. But then the universe clearly wants me to zig, and so I zag. You know, like a diamond ring, it doesn't really cost that much. And it's like, I don't care about money. It's like, what do I have a whole bunch of money, what do I even fucking do with it? Well, I'll buy the cheapest diamond ring, you know, because this is like the thing that the universe clearly doesn't want me to do. So I'll do it. Honestly, though, she was right not to go along with that, because like I would be bored. I mean, to be fair, because it's like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with a French girl? But I did do a lot with that diamond ring. Man, that got consumed in the equation, and since it was, you know, jewel and precious metals, it's like it does a lot of work. I watched a video by Superfan Natural. Right now it was by some other channel. About how the season 5 ending, Swan Song, was really the proper ending to Supernatural, and all the rest that came after it. It left too many loose ends. Made me think about my sister and how we watched that together. That's the one where Castiel gets exploded, by the way. Ray Castiel gets exploded a lot in that show. It was the time that he got exploded by Lucifer. We watched that together. Made me think about how I do miss my sister. And, you know, it makes me sad I'm not going to see her. But then again, like, what am I supposed to do? Because, I mean, she has bailed me out a lot. You know? But the thing to do would be to, like, try to contact her, etc. and so forth. But I gotta zag on that one. You know, I gotta make it on my own. Live my own life. You know, not really depend on her to bail me out. Now, that does mean an excessively boring life, of course, but I want an excessively boring life. And I mean, her finances are definitely better off without me, so, I mean, I can't feel bad about that. Anyway, I gotta go downtown today. I've got some objects to place. I don't know if I've ever explained how this works. I don't even know if I could explain how it works, but, you know, these drawings, and these specific ones, they pin down a lot of specific shit in the reality generation, and then I move the objects, and then the universe, it has to stretch the fucking ontological chords, and then they gotta renormalize, and it's just a whole fucking thing. It's not a good explanation, right? Oh, well, fuck you, I'm God. Like, my explanations are never going to be good. Right? I mean, consider this. I was just a heavy drinking YouTuber making snarky response videos, and then I stumble upon the keys of the universe, and I've got to fucking master the channels of fucking reality. And in addition to that, you expect me to be able to explain it in a way that makes sense? I'm already fucking mastering the channels of reality and fucking manipulating that shit, and like I'm also supposed to be able to explain it? Come on, it's too much. Anyway, y'all have a nice day.